Hi friends, this is Morgan with Compass Rose Astrology, and let's talk about some of these feelings that are becoming really prevalent right now, because I think all of us are really experiencing some of these, I wouldn't say intrusive, but really compelling daydreams and kind of internal wishes that are really popping up right now for us. Let's talk about how have you possibly been feeling that you're really indulging into some kind of like dark, kind of deep, really enticing thoughts and fantasies and daydreams that are just kind of popping up on a whim that you usually don't really allow yourself to indulge in, but they're really kind of grasping you and holding you captivated right now. Like, they could be thoughts that make you feel really kind of hot and free and just this sense of kind of indulgence that really kind of gets a fire burning inside of you. There could also be some moments where you find yourself like really lost in these thoughts that you wouldn't normally allow yourself to indulge in. They could be like kind of like happy moments, you know, that you like, they just pop into your head and you find yourself really becoming captivated by them because they bring you some sort of sense of peace, and they kind of are based on moments that you never really allowed yourself to think could happen. For example, like, let's say you really find yourself one day thinking about like you sitting on some balcony somewhere sipping coffee and in some like far off land that you never really thought you'd settle down in, and you're like, oh hey, I really think that would make me happy. That would be kind of a place and an experience that I really wish I could have. Or maybe there's this idea that you're having about working in a new line of work, and it just kind of pops into your mind one day, and it's really far-fetched, really far-flung, something maybe you never really considered actually investing in because it's so far outside of the societal norms, basically. And you're like, maybe I could actually make a living out of this, make a life out of this. And the thing is that these daydreams right now really feel very real and very close to actualization, instead of just being some sort of daydream that just pops into your thoughts and like just kind of dissipates after you're like, oh yeah, that's really nice. This is something that actually like feels like it could be real, and it's coming more to the surface. And also, if it's not something like that, it could be that you're feeling really kind of vulnerable and selfless towards some sort of partnership in your life. Like maybe you're ready to kind of really commit to somebody in your life and do something that's completely out of the norm than you would have ever really considered. For example, like maybe you're considering switching religions for someone, because out of like good intentions, because you are beginning to possibly believe in that religion as well, but you're actually considering it. Or maybe you are someone that never really believed in marriage, but your partner really does, so you're beginning to consider that. Or vice versa, maybe you're someone that really always wanted to get married, but your partner doesn't, so you're beginning to think, hey, maybe it's not that big of a deal and I'll meet my partner halfway here. And I say all these things because these are just examples. I'm hoping you can get like the sort of kind of archetypal imagery around this, because a lot of us are going to be feeling and experiencing thoughts and ideals and ideations similar to these kind of themes of thinking outside the norm, indulging in fantasies that you wouldn't normally kind of want to indulge in or see a path forward with, because Venus and Neptune are conjunct in Aquarius this week on the 15th. And on top of that, Venus and Neptune are also going to be sextiling Pluto. So there's a lot of symbolism and archetypal energies popping up. And let me explain to you why when you get Venus and Neptune, which are combined, you get two planets of kind of illusion and kind of spiritual enlightenment and embracing the difference and embracing commitment as well. let me tell you why we get that when we get Venus and Neptune coming together, and then we have this kind of supportive, surprisingly, aspect of Pluto in the mix as well. So let's think of it, and this is the way that I learn and approach astrology, by thinking of it from kind of a mythological, symbolic perspective. So we have Venus, first and foremost, which is the symbol and the archetype of the goddess of love. She is the planetary symbol of kind of like passion and devotion, love and laughter, and marriage. And she is also the, in classic mythology, she's the daughter of Jupiter and Dione. And she was born from the sea. So archetypally, when you get the water element in the mix, there is the kind of undercurrent of intuition and emotions and being driven by your feelings. And it's that kind of that gut feeling that is driving you in life. So that's where these daydreams and kind of following your intuition and allowing these thoughts to pop into your head and kind of following them where they lead, because they really touch some sort of inner core and inner belief and kind of like soul drive in you right now. And there's just this kind of harmony here with Venus that is making itself known to you, and it's also kind of balancing that external force of how people project how you feel or how you should act. Because Venus, despite being like the planet and the symbolism of relations and relating to others, Venus as a goddess and the symbolism of herself, she's not going to live her life by someone else's means. And mixing that with Neptune just creates this really beautiful kind of selfless devotion to the other, but still being independent and following your core desires and beliefs. In classic mythology, Neptune was the god of the sea, and he was also very unhappy with his lot in life and kind of constantly strove for bigger and better things. And this got him into a lot of trouble. And I know that in classic mythology, Neptune isn't exactly the same symbolism as Neptune in astrology, but there's some themes that come into play that are similar between Neptune as the classic mythological god and Neptune the planet. So not necessarily the whole taking action part of Neptune in the classic mythology, where Neptune would actually fight against people or go after the thing that he wanted most. It's more along the lines of like daydreaming and dreaming about a life that isn't confined by other people's expectations and their limitations. It's like a life without bounds, a life without other people's expectations placed on yourself. And that's a big part of the daydreams and the kind of illusions and hopes and wishes that come up with this Neptune aspect. And Neptune also, if you're familiar, I should probably get a tarot card to show you, but maybe I'll get one popped up on the screen for you. Neptune also really reminds me of the Seven of Cups card in the tarot decks, and that's a card that symbolizes options and choices and not being bound to one thing. And Neptune itself really wants to have the option of living the life that it wants, right? And so does the planet is kind of inspiring that within you as well. So overall, right now, you can really expect to feel a very deep devotion to someone or an idea or something creative that makes you really happy, like some sort of drive that makes you really happy, and you're meeting this dream halfway to actually fulfill it. Like this is like the spark, the beginning for you here. And like I said at the beginning of the video, Pluto is also making a sextile to Venus and Neptune. And symbolically, Pluto is often seen as like the god of death or fear or isolation. But this planet and god in classic mythology is also the symbolism of riches. So the way I interpret that is that because it's a sextile, because it's a really positive and supportive aspect with Pluto, I don't see the fear and the isolation that typically comes along with Pluto aspects and transits. To me, this seems like a deep kind of investment and a rich investment into your daydreams and your loves and passions, if that is another person. So whether that investment can be time or money or just more happy thoughts, it's still an investment of your intentions and attentions to this sort of idea that's happening and things that are popping into your head. What more does this mean to feel this sort of really enticing kind of indulgent dark daydream and this romantic pull away from societal expectations? What does that mean with it happening in Aquarius? And you're probably, in my opinion, I think this would mean that you're very, very in tune with your intuition right now, and maybe even feeling a sense of clairvoyance. Like you might just get that things are happening or that people are going to be feeling a certain way towards you, so when something does happen or when someone says something to you, you're not surprised by it. Like you just have this really deep connection and just a sense of knowing. And I think that happens a lot with Aquarius and Neptune. And you probably have just like a very deep understanding of how people feel about you, whether that's good or bad. And the thing about Aquarius is that it doesn't really affect you. Aquarius can sometimes be seen as really cold and like detached, but it's not like an actual detachment in that you feel cold or isolated. It's not a sense of rejection. It's more just a sense of kind of a logical box existing within that box, and some things just don't affect you. And that's kind of what's happening right now. So Aquarius is very unemotionally driven as a sign, and you might feel pretty solid like in your stance in life right now, regardless of how other people think or feel. And I think that's a wonderful thing to be experiencing, honestly, because sometimes with Venus and Neptune there can be like some really strong kind of emotional drives, and Aquarius is really balancing that out and just not letting other people and other things mess that up, you know? And it can also be that if you're changing, like, let's say in our examples that you are changing kind of your approach to in a relationship so that it makes your partner happy. To you, it doesn't matter how other people react now. And that's a really beautiful thing, I think. You just want to make your partner happy. And if you're pursuing kind of a creative endeavor that is really outside the box and you're just like, or you want to move somewhere that like you never really thought that you would before, you're not letting other people's perspectives and opinions affect you in that way. Or even if it's like traveling somewhere new that you didn't really think that you'd be able to do in this sort of time frame or something. People's opinions, and they're always going to comment on something. And the good thing about Aquarius is that it's putting that distance and that kind of boundary there that says, no, this is for me. This is something that I need to consider. It's not affecting other people's lives besides me and my partner or me and my creative endeavor. And that's the most important thing I need to consider right now. And so it's a really kind of some personal solidarity that's happening. So I hope this video kind of puts this transit into perspective, and I really like incorporating kind of mythology along with astrology because they definitely go hand in hand, and providing some kind of real life examples that can be applied along with the symbolism and the feelings that come with this sort of archetypal transit. So let me know if you have anything similar happening in your life, because I'd definitely be interested to hear about it. And I will talk to you in the next video. Bye.